Hello everybody and welcome back to Gears of War Free. So, like I've said, we can play standard or arcade basically is the campaign but without cutscenes. Basically just a like arcade style where you just play all the way through. However, we also have a DLC mini campaign called Raam's Shadow. So let's start that up.
Yeah. So get this, for 10 bones, $10, you could pretty much get 6 hours worth of gameplay.
And some multiplayer content.
Jova, I do not want to spend any of my bones buying
There's a total of 4 DLC packs, and one of them is the one that has Raam's Shadow in it.
Bones is another term sometimes.
Evacuation limited. So there you go. This DLC takes place shortly after E-Day, so this is actually a prequel to the entire series so far.
Damn. That's part of it. But sure let me check who this handsome fellow is.
I swear,
his name is Beardy McBeard.
I'm not even joking, guys. I don't even remember their names. That's how unmemorable I find them to be. And look at that, Jova, in media res, because I know you love it.
Yep. I mean, again, it depends on the execution. That said, though, yeah, I'll admit, more often than not, I'm not the most well-hyped by in medias res.
So yeah, 4 hours before the Krill Storm, aka what that thing that we just saw earlier.
Well, I know.
Is that oh no, it's called. Oh, it's
Go ahead, Dwebs.
I mean, the first episode of Gravity Falls was like that, and you enjoyed that one.
Again, it depends on how you do it. But, no, Teo, none of the OG characters show up aside from Jace.
Weird, that guy looked like Tay from the second.
Oh yeah, and Kim, and Commander Kim, I forgot about Kim. There you go, remember Commander Kim, the guy that got killed by Raam in the first game?
Yeah.
We get to see him alive here because he's the head of the Delta Squad.
Actually, I think the
Zeta Squad, sorry, Forces of Habit.
Oh, snap.
That's right.
He did.
No, Taylor's right.
Okay.
It's Zeta Squad. Yes.
So guys, you saw that little boy who was being taken to safety? He did now.
I find it funny that 1 year after this, approximately, Mass Effect will almost copy this scene.
What, having the kids die?
Yeah, on the transport. Remember, Jova, at the beginning of Evacuation from Earth as the Reaper destroying the transport with the kid. Keep in mind, according to the Shepherd being in fact indoctrinated theory, the kid may not even be real.
You talk about Mass Effect 3, right?
Yes.
Mass Effect 3.
So yeah, this new squad is the Zeta Squad, like Teo said, thanks. And we're playing as Beardy McBeardy, as Dweb so affectionately called him.
I'll check in the meantime the actual
and guess what, guys? He always has a freaking cigar on his mouth throughout this entire thing.
So wow. It's like
because it's cool, Dwebs, don't you know?
Yeah, it's like the discount Solo in Star Chaser, the Digital Boring.
That's what amateur writers think it's cool.
Well, Dwebs.
Sorry, to be fair, Wolverine somehow made it cool.
Yeah, but that's Wolverine though. That's the exception.
Also, both of you, it already started. The thing that pioneered it were, the Sergio Leone spaghetti western with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Oh, but of course.
All right.
Okay, Zeta Squad.
Remember the good old days when it was just Locust and not Lambent?
Yeah.
Good times.
And wow, the buildings are surprisingly relatively intact.
Well, remember, this is right after E-Day. In case you forgot, E-Day was the day where the Locust officially came from underground and started attacking. So this is literally right after it happened. So obviously buildings still look intact at the time. So.
There you go, I was right. That character is Tai. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. So there we go, Dwebs. It's not Tai. It's more Tay. Is it Tay or Tai? I forgot. I swear to you, I forgot their names. I'm sorry, but I literally forgot their names. It's been a while, and they're not exactly memorable.
Yeah, but don't worry, Pedro. I've got names for him. The guy I'm playing as, like I said earlier, is Beardy, and the others are Shorty, Shooty, and Guy.
Anyway, like I was saying though, yeah, Tay is actually from Gears 2, as you recall. You know, the guy who got tortured to the point where he killed himself. And mind you, he was a badass already, as well respected in Gears 2. So seeing him kill himself was a sign showing that the Locusts were playing for keeps.
Anyway, our protagonist here is should be at least Michael Berwick, which is voiced by
that's it.
Rick D. Wasserman. But here's the thing that I found, the thing that I didn't check probably until this point. Jova.
Yes?
You want to know who voices Jace?
Don't tell me.
Michael B. Jordan.
Wow, okay, I can see that actually.
4 years before Fan 4 Stick.
So there you go. Michael B. Jordan started his career in Gears of War 3.
Well, he probably started somewhere else, but interesting to know.
I mean, okay, yeah, he does sound like Michael B. Jordan, and it looks like they may have modeled him a bit after Michael B. Jordan, who I think had dreads at the time.
Oh yeah, that's another cool. Yeah. Okay, one cool thing we have, gameplay-wise, for this DLC is that we get to control the Hammer of Dawn from its satellite perspective. So that's actually kind of cool. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give it that.
I mean, it's like I said, by DLC standards of the time when this came out, this is pretty remarkable.
Sorry, go on, Joe. I'll mention later.
Here's the thing about DLC, folks. Back when it was sort of in its infancy around, the late 2000s, early 2010s, it was like this. Either it was very well crafted, or it was stuff like the overpriced horse armor from that
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Yeah. So basically, companies either, felt like they were overcompensating, but you know what, that felt good, or it felt like a pittance. Which, okay, mind you, back in the day, we were kind of more okay with how DLC was a new thing. But
Jova, as someone who actually tested the feedback on his skin, no. People were complaining pretty much since 2009 onward.
Never mind then. Good job, humanity. You still remember to have standards then.
I argue not, because things only got worse from there on. If only we knew.
Area is secure. What's left of it?
Anyway, the other members are Tay, like I mentioned. The bald guy is called Min Young Kim, and the girl is called Alicia Valera.
When you say bald guy, you're talking about.
And by the way, our female companion for this squad is voiced by Laura Bailey.
But no, Jova, I'm talking about the other bald guy. This guy is not completely bald.
So, Pedro, honest question. Do you think she's a better character than Laura Bailey's other Gears character?
That's the thing, Jova. I don't know. She gets exactly 0 characterization in this DLC.
Okay. With what we get out of her, would you say that she's less annoying than
if you
know who later on?
They know the name, Joe. We can say the name at least. Jova, if you consider a character with 0 characterization better than Kate, then I guess yes. Personally, I don't really care either way.
I guess it depends on your preference. I mean, she may not have much of a character, but knowing the damage that Kate as a character kind of did to the franchise.
So yeah, that's my main problem with this DLC. Like the character, even the characters that technically do have characterization, it's just your typical burly, muscle-headed, tough guy type of archetype. They unlike Marcus and his friends, they never really rise above those archetypes. They're just kind of there,
I wonder if maybe the case was that they didn't have as much time to write out for the campaign. Brumar.
Better rendered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the production values of this DLC are much like the Left Behind DLC in Last of Us. Are exactly like in the main campaign, so it doesn't feel like they cut costs when it comes to this DLC. Remember, this was back when Epic Games was the one in charge, not Microsoft.
Anyway, Jova, I checked. Michael B. Jordan started out as an actor for TV series. Believe it or not, his very first role was in The Sopranos in one episode. But he was a minor character in The Wire, was an episode of CSI, an important character in All My Children, when it was like Without a Trace, The Assistants, Law and Order, Bones, all that stuff. Gears of War 3 seems to be his first and probably only video game role.
Unless there was a video game adaptation.
He also, guess what, Jovan? He also voiced the Cyborg in the animated adaptation of Flashpoint.
Neat. Yeah, he was pretty good in that role. I mean, he's no Kerry Fainton, but then again, Kerry Fainton is like the Kevin Conroy of Cyborg.
Oh, there you go. There's another video game role. He voiced a character called Justice Young in NBA 2K17.
Oh, neat.
Those NBA 2K17 are story mode? I wonder.
It may have something akin to that, possibly.
Then there's, of course, Creed, Black Panther, and all that other stuff.
But yeah, back to this though. That's just the thing though. I'm actually genuinely wondering if Rod and his team forgot about Laura Bailey's character in this DLC, because usually you don't see series featuring two prominent characters voiced by the same actor. You know,
well, Pedro, ever since the first game, it was kind of a thing that the character were just a bunch of a voice actor voicing a couple of the characters. Sure, not properly for the main Delta Squad, but most of the NPCs were also voiced by John DiMaggio, Robin Atkins, and the others.
And hell,
I guess, sure.
We were just good at making impressions. Laura Bailey has like 2 or 3 variants, but she can only get...
Hell, I mean, we're seeing that even with modern games like Crash Team Racing, Nitro Field. Like, they definitely reuse voice actors.
You can listen potentially, Java, for example, to her voice as the Cloud of Darkness in the Zeta games. She uses a very deep tone that is very uncharacteristic for her.
Yeah, neat.
No, that's the thing too. Like you said, John DiMaggio and Fred Tatasciore voice some minor little NPC characters. That's cool. But I'm talking about primary characters that the plot focuses on. Because I forgot her name. Miss What's Her Name is an actual member of the Zeta Squad. Alicia. Thank you.
Yeah,
Alicia is an actual member of the Zeta Squad, which is a squad that this DLC focuses on. So by this, from the perspective of the series itself, she is an important character. Like, she's an actual character that's part of a squad you're part of. So she's not just a minor character, at least not from the perspective of the game itself. So I don't typically see games have 2 major characters, not unimportant NPCs. I mean major characters voiced by the same actor or actress. Because
I'm sorry, go on.
Because like I said, Laura voices Alicia in this DLC, and then she went on to become Kate from Gears 4 and 5. So it is interesting to see, because normally I wouldn't expect that. Go ahead.
Apparently, Min Young Kim apparently is a character that was also in the first game.
I already said that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No. Well, I don't remember that.
He was the one. He was the one that got killed by Raam in the first game. Remember that scene where even Marcus was looking in terror?
I got confused with someone else, which I guess leaves only our main protagonist and Alicia to be the.
That's the thing.
Original generation.
That's the thing too. Like you yourself just said, you don't remember him because he was only in Act 1 of the first game. He's only in this. And
no, it's because I got confused instead to the sergeant that was with Marcus' squad that gets killed, and then Marcus gets promoted.
Well, again, I get that this DLC only has 6 hours of runtime, and that's perfectly fine. I just wish they could have, all the more reason why you should have had some nice little dialogue in between the various gameplay sections.
One thing we have to take into account is that budget for a DLC tends to be heavily fractioned, and when it comes to, dialogue, well, voice actors tend to work on certain salaries here. Either they work on a certain price per line sort of thing, or they work on a set salary by the hour or by day here. So, in this case, it could be a case that for the DLC they had to cut down on the dialogue because of how much voice actors costed and how much the company was was willing to spend on DLC.
Also, Pedro, I checked also this. Apparently, someone at the coalition may actually have played this because Alicia has a photo cameo and she's mentioned in Gears 5, apparently.
Come on.
Oh, she is? I swear
Maybe
to
that's the reason why.
I swear to I don't remember.
Maybe that's. Hey, maybe that's why they got Laura Bailey to play the new face of the franchise.
Hell, could you, so basically, if Alicia and Kate were to meet, it would
Laura
literally.
Bailey would be talking to herself.
It would be kind of like if Kane and the Caius met.
Especially because when you later hear it in cutscenes, she uses her normal voice for Alicia in the same way that she uses her normal voice for Kate. So honestly,
So those two meet.
Yeah, if those two meet, it would be really awkward from a performance perspective because they don't have any kind of distinguishable traits to their voices.
Again, even if with the same if Kane from 24 and Caius from 13-2 would have met in a crossover. It's a good thing that the SCWRM keeps the Japanese voice actors because otherwise it would. And even then, the Japanese voice actor have a shit ton of recycle. Hell, Maya Sakamoto voices like what? 20 characters in that game? Jesus.
Wow.
Also,
anyway, let me check if that Barrick if he gets mentioned.
Alright, one minor complaint I have with the gameplay of this DLC is that some of these sections go on for a bit longer than they need to be honest.
I can see that.
I can see why. Again, it's DLC, so it's doing its best,
to stretch the gameplay time, yeah.
Yeah, again, like I said, for DLC at the time this was made, this is actually pretty remarkable, but there was something of a stigma even back then surrounding DLC, so I can see why they would want to try and beefing it up, but not have as much money for more dialogue here and there. Like
this cost $10, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's still a better deal than what Ubisoft did for the Prince of Persia 2008 epilogue because that was $15. It was completable. It's shorter and it leaves a more sour taste in your mouth. I don't know again what the complete story is of this one, but it gives me a better impression so far.
The only experience I have with this kind of thing was the DLC for the Force Unleashed games.
Oh
what
god. Well, to be honest, Libs, those are always non-canon scenarios, so you technically needed you want to buy them only if you really want to have fun.
So I can play my own personal fan fiction of
pretty much
Chewbacca and Han Solo.
And I mean non-canon even back in the day, even before the restructuring of the Star Wars franchise. Basically, Java, the way that it works is that LucasArts decided to have a bit more fun because the Force Unleashed games offer you like two different scenarios, one where the protagonist keeps being on the light side of the Force and one where instead he's on the dark side. And the DLC campaigns are basically what-if scenarios based on what will happen, how the original trilogy would be screwed if the character in Force Unleashed, since it's a prequel, would have joined the dark side.
But of course.
Anyway, I checked them. Yes, Michael is also mentioned in Gears 5. So I guess maybe there's something like a memorial for the Zeta Squad.
Okay. Well, there is dialogue in the multiplayer, and so maybe it has to. Maybe when you use certain characters in the campaign, they mention them because I don't remember them talking about them in the campaign itself.
Keep in mind, Michael is mentioned only, but Alicia also gets a photo cameo, so it has to be something like in the story, like in the background.
I honestly don't remember, to be honest.
Maybe it's sidestep that you can miss, but you have to go out of your way to look for.
Possibly, but well, whatever. It's not like it's important anyway.
Oh boy. That is a Gears favorite. Also, you gotta love how apparently these Locusts had been around for like one day, and already the Gears already came up with names for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they just needed to quickly find a way to make, giving precise commands to the units instead of, having, say, Unit A, Unit B, stuff like that.
I mean, like how apparently, they found classification names for each of the Locusts.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said right after, but they didn't say how long. Like it could have been 2 days or something like that. So
well, it's still a remarkably short amount of time. So I get the idea what Joe is mentioning.
Didn't the opening say like some set of time after?
Shortly after.
Shortly after.
Could be a week, could be 2 days.
Under the ground these days. I'm with you, sister.
the game was not specific with it.
Fair enough.
All right,
Yeah,
so basically,
for a second during that previous battle there, it's interesting. I thought the monsters were throwing bits of the museum at you.
so basically, we're in this bank because we're here to get something that we were ordered to get from Commander Kim. So let's see what it is.
You're saying you were ordered to rob the bank.
Well,
Well,
as you can see, the bank is not exactly operating anymore. So
It's kind of like Battlefield Earth, where the ultimate goal for John Travolta's character is to steal gold from Fort Knox.
But apparently he doesn't even know what Fort Knox is.
all right.
Despite the fact that, well, we can talk about that later for our generation's commentary of that movie.
All right, this section,
Find it. You know.
you have to be really careful when you're doing this specific section here. Why? Because this is something that I actually found out. I actually found out something that turns out some stuff. Indeed, the multiplayer works a lot like the single player, more than I thought. Because when one of your companions is crawling around because he got shot, much like you yourself when you get shot to the ground, if they hang on, crawl around for too long, they will die. And if one of your companions dies, it's game over. You have to go back to the last checkpoint. So basically, Teo, this game is turns. I wasn't even aware of this, but apparently Gears games operate on Final Fantasy 14 rules. If one party member dies, the entire party somehow dies. I mean,
I get the idea of having a character going full KO after a while that is crawling, even for your teammates. But with the idea that, well, you just have to do the rest of the fighting without him or her, and only after you win, it revives. But to get a game over just for one party member going down, wow.
That's which basically means, Teo, that you're heavily dependent on the AI not being dumb, and if someone gets thrown to the ground, you better
immediately go right.
You better go immediately, because if he gets killed, you will lose and have to start from the last checkpoint. So, yeah, it can become a problem.
Okay, now to Gears' credit, unlike Final Fantasy, it wasn't exactly known for, having your AI be controllable. Unlike Final Fantasy, where, you were supposed to have all of your party controllable for the most part there, so it was more jarring in 13. Here, I can sort of get this, since it tends to be the case in a lot of third-person shooters where, you play the lead of a particular party, and if you die, that's pretty much it. Back to the last save point.
Also, your own teammates can also revive each other potentially if they're smart enough.
Yeah, most of the time they are, but basically you're not seeing it because I cut it out. But when I was doing it, when I was doing a practice run for this DLC before I recorded it, it actually happened to me where I was in the middle of a shootout, and Alicia dropped to the ground. And I was, whatever, one of them will go. Eventually it got to a point where none of them were being able to revive Alicia. Alicia died, and even said there, Alicia died. So back to either go to the title screen or continue from the last checkpoint. And so
now that does kind of suck that if your allies die, then it's a game over.
Yeah, I think it like Teo said, I think it should be that they could be a capacity they would not be able to fight for the rest of this particular section. That would be fine. But basically what you're telling me is that I have to pray and hope that the AI is not dumb enough to get itself into the line of fire, so that can be a problem.
Yeah, I can imagine it now. If a JRPG had that kind of mechanic where if one person in the party dies, everyone dies, it'd be like they're all linked together by some sort of magic, but if one person is killed, the magic spell breaks and it takes their life as a result.
Great, the holes are
That's how it is. That's how it is in Final Fantasy 14. Let me put it in a way that you'll understand. Imagine this if you're playing Persona 5 Royal. However, if Joker dies, it's game over. Like the other party members don't matter, apparently. Like
Well, I mean, they rely a lot on it as their leaders.
I mean,
so-
the reason why it works, like I think I mentioned a couple of times, but the reason why it has to be like that in normal classic Megaten is because you technically only have one human member, and the other are all the demons that he or she control. So of course, if the summoner dies, the control is basically, you know, destroyed, which means that they're not gonna help you revive.
Sure.
It makes it still more challenging, but there's a story explanation.
Oh, yeah, no.
13 is like, I don't know.
It just happens. It just happens because it's a very stupid limitation that doesn't make any sense. Like it also kind of well, actually no, never mind. It also happens that like in others. Never mind. Okay, I think we're done. Yeah.
Hey, Jace.
Hey, Jace. So this is younger Jace.
He was a civilian back in the day.
What if a stray bullet accidentally killed Jace or something?
And that would cause a time paradox, and we can't have that, Libs.
Like, that's the weirdest thing that's happened in this series.
The last thing I want to
Oh, there
say
you go. Listen to her.
I'm Alicia. You're safe now, alright?
This is before Jace grew a goatee.
I thought I was done.
Are there any other survivors in here?
I don't think so.
So yeah, she gives Alicia the same voice she gives to Kate. So
Well, yeah, these also matches from what I've seen in the notes. Apparently, Josh Ortega wanted to give the character Latino vibe, so that's why Laura has an accent here.
well, actually that makes sense, Theo, because Kate is also Latino. So actually that actually makes sense now that I think about it. Still though, it's the same voice. I would hope that Rod would tell her, okay, you already voiced Alicia, so give Kate a somewhat different voice so that it's not just the same voice that you give to Alicia, just to differentiate the two. I would
Maybe their mentality was that, hey, it's not like Alicia's going to meet up with Kate, so just give it the same voice.
Not that I care much, because Alicia is as bland as a plank of wood, but
I mean, I was playing this just today, Pedro. The thing is that there are two characters back to back, not back to back, but you know, that have to work together, like talking in the same room to each other. In Slide 2, that are voiced by the same voice actress, and she only gives a slight difference in that one has a fake British accent. That's it.
interesting.
So, what do I know? Anyway.
Alright, everybody, in the next part, we'll see if we can get Jace out of here, because he's super important, apparently.
It's crucial to the timeline. See ya.
Yes, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.